Good morning, everybody. I'm Ian James. I'm the Executive Director of ResponsibleOhio, and I'm glad that you made it here today in this way back in the bowels of the higher agency. We've got some important folks here we want to introduce this morning and have them speak about issue 2 and issue 3, a vote no on 2 and a vote yes on issue 3. I'm going to turn it over very quickly to, where's Lissa? Lissa Satori.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lissa Satori. I am a cannabis activist, a patient advocate, and a Ohio native, mother of one. And I have been active in the cannabis community here in Ohio for several years. My journey started when I became aware of a pediatric cancer patient in Colorado by the name of Cash Hyde, who fought a very brave battle against cancer and utilized cannabis to help him through it when it was accessible to him. Unfortunately, he lost his battle with cancer, and at that moment, I became a lifelong cannabis advocate. In my time in Ohio, I have served with the Ohio Rights Group. During my time as executive director with that group, we built that organization into the largest cannabis activism organization in the state's history. Also during that time, I answered the phones for that group. And since my time with that group, patients continue to contact me. I have literally spoken to hundreds and hundreds of patients and families across the state of Ohio over the last 3 years. And what I hear these days is a lot of those patients are being told to wait. For whatever reason, wait and vote no on issue 3. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about what that means for the patients of Ohio. When you are asking patients to wait on a non-lethal plant with little to no side effects and instead take pharmaceutical medications, you are asking them to deal with the side effects of those medications, which are oftentimes more disastrous than the actual condition itself. You are asking cancer patients to continue to starve to death while they go through traditional treatments to treat their cancer. You are asking mothers to watch their children suffer because they are afraid to give a non-toxic plant to their children to help with their symptoms for fear of persecution in our state. You are asking our retirees to deal with the aches and pains of growing older, as well as conditions such as Alzheimer's, MS, and other neurological conditions that cause them to tremor and shake and not be able to move across a room instead of being able to access this legal plant and be able to move about easily. You are asking chronic pain patients to spend their days in bed instead of spending their days with their families and out being productive members of society. And the worst is, you are asking some of them to die. Because for some folks, waiting is fatal. So I ask you today to please think about the priorities when you check that voting box on issue 3, as well as on issue 2. We believe that the patients of Ohio are the priority, and I'd like everyone to show them that we do not expect them to wait. Thank you.
I'm going to have Nicole say some words about Lucy.
Certainly. I'm going to get you scooted up here, Lucy, with me. I like to introduce myself, Nicole Schultz, and my daughter, Lucy Schultz. I'd like to start by saying that I'm here in full support of issue 3. It's no secret that this has been a contentious issue that many folks have needed to chew on a little bit in the state of Ohio. That's been true for me. Like any parent, I approach the interests of my child with a healthy bit of skepticism. Let me share with you, if you'll allow me a little bit, to share with you a little bit of how I've come to my position of support. You see, this is not Lucy's first trip to our state capitol. Lucy and I have worked hard to communicate with our elected officials to help them understand the need for access to medicine that works for her, and so many other kids in the state of Ohio, believing that if they just understood, that they would act on our behalf. I am willing to humbly admit today that I only have so much control over how legalization comes to the state of Ohio. We have been seeking best opportunities towards access to the most promising medicine Lucy may ever know over the past 2 years. And I say that with firsthand knowledge of significant numbers of promising stories, similar stories that should not and cannot be ignored. The fact is that mounting numbers of scientists, medical professionals, and open-minded people recognize that we at least have been misguided with regard to our approach to cannabis. Lucy and other kids in the state of Ohio who need medicine that works for them deserve the right to try medicine in a timely fashion before they age 5, 10, 15 years. My ideal choice, I will admit, would have been for our elected officials to pay attention to the changing perspectives occurring nationally and globally with regard to medical cannabis, for them to respond empathetically, which is to ask themselves, what would I do if I had a child with a debilitating disorder, a difficult to treat disorder that modern pharmaceuticals cannot help, and that I was restricted from access to that medicine that is currently, today, improving the lives in children's lives in other U.S. states. I've asked them to recognize that their constituents have begged their ear and asked them for help. And though there are friendly folks at the State House, I have not seen the kind of action necessary to address and satisfy the urgency of a family like mine and so many other families in the state of Ohio. My 11-year-old daughter Lucy was 9 when I first wrote my legislators. I have kindly and respectfully educated them and worked to ask for legislative support for 2 years with like-minded parents in an organization called Ohio Families Can. That might not seem long legislatively in the state of Ohio, but I promise you, for a mom who lives every single day with a kid with, as I said, a very difficult to treat epilepsy disorder, that is a very long time. I can tell you what a slap in the face it felt like when those elected officials at our State House rallied together very quickly to put issue 2 on the ballot. Not to rally in support of strong, brave, sick kids and their families, but against adults smoking pot and other people profiting from it. So for those who say, wait a year for a better plan, I have to say today that I see no guarantee that any other measure is going to actually get another great idea on our ballot. I will not take that gamble. And if any of those other initiatives can actually get a measure on the ballot, great, that's the democratic process. What in issue 3 stops them from changing the Constitution again in the event that a successful issue 3 establishes the beginning of a cannabis industry? That sounds great. I wish, for me, it's not about this plan or that plan, us or them. It's about let's get on the road. So I'm here today in support of issue 3, and quite honestly, I'm grateful for the opportunity to cast my ballot and to work within the most viable plan I see before me today as a member of the International Cannabinoid Institute, a nonprofit with an impressive mission to be a central repository for best practices in research. I believe our missions align and welcome an opportunity to move beyond begging for access onto helping patients access the medicine they need, because there will be many people like me who aren't just going to sit at home waiting for these grow facilities to make us medicine. We will be paying attention. We will be developing relationships. It may just take a village to usher in this transition, no matter how it occurs. And I want you to know that for every one of me who's able to speak here to you today, there are hundreds and thousands like me in the state of Ohio. Hundreds of people who need serious help. Help that really can be more available. Let's support medical cannabis patients in the state of Ohio, please. And if you feel it's right, it's even okay and not too late to change your mind. So I hope that when Ohioans enter the voting booth, they'll consider what really matters. Please vote with me. Yes, on issue 3.